Good evening, everybody. Chopin Martin the Millhead here. Hope you're all going well. I've decided to do this challenge for the next 31 days that every day I'm going to upload a new video where I'm going to talk about certain parts of my life, what I've done, what was the greatest achievement, and today's topic is what my life would have been like if I didn't travel. Let's just say I had never left my own country of birth, Australia, or I had never moved away from Sydney, Australia. Okay, now, I was born in Australia in the middle of the 80s to a English father of Scottish blood and Jewish blood, and a New Zealand mother of Irish blood and English and French blood as well. I went to New Zealand at age 2 to meet all my aunts and uncles because that's where my mum's family was. And then from 1990, the last time I went to New Zealand as a child, until the time I went to Canberra in 1998, I did not leave Sydney, Australia. Like, I did not go outside of my state of New South Wales. Sure, I did leave Sydney to go to Vincentia as a child, or Wollongong, Gerringong, South Coast, but I never went abroad until I was 20. I went abroad to New Zealand after 15 years away when I was 20 in 2006, and then I went back again 20 months later in January 2008, but I did not leave my own continent until April 2010. That was like the first time I'd traveled abroad properly. I don't really count New Zealand as going abroad because it's literally in my own background, it's in my own continent. It was nothing really special. If I was not a traveling person, my life would just be work all the time, because that's what it was. I remember I had started working in hospitality at the age of 21 at a soup kitchen, and then months later I was working at this really awful Mexican restaurant that I stayed for 22 months. And in all that time frame, I only took one vacation, which was to go to New Zealand for a family reunion. I didn't go abroad, but I remember just telling myself like how I wanted to travel to Canada or the United States to see Rush, or how I wanted to go to Germany to see the Scorpions. My oldest brother never believed that I could get on a plane and go abroad and see a band. I mean, he had gotten on a plane himself to go to America and Singapore and New Zealand, but that was about it. He didn't believe in the whole thing about traveling to see a band. Now, when you live in Australia, you're in a Western country, and you're connected with other artists from Europe and North America and Asia and South America, Africa, whatever. Western musicians, top 40, this, that, the other, rock, heavy metal, no matter like what you like. A lot of them will eventually come to Australia, but most of them are like, it's 16-hour flight from the United States. Oh, it's like 24 hours from Europe. I can't be bothered. I'm not going to make good money in touring Australia. Like, 'cause that's why Iron Maiden did not come back to Australia for like 18 whole years. From like 1990 to 2008, Iron Maiden did not come back to Australia. And when they finally came back to Australia, in a Somewhere Back in Time tour, tickets were costing 150 Australian dollars, because I believe, some entertainment company has paid Iron Maiden $1 million Australian dollars to come to Australia. To talk about a career, what I would have done if I wasn't traveling, I would have just been in a dead-end job, which, no offense, I am still in a dead-end job right now, a waiter. I probably would have been running that really crappy Mexican restaurant that I'd worked for, even though the manager didn't believe in me becoming a bartender. I mean, he was a good and evil person. He was. There are many disgusting things he had done in the past, and sadly, a couple months ago, he died. And so I remember just drinking a non-alcoholic beer and just saying, "Good riddance." The manager who didn't believe in me is dead. So another one of my enemies 6 feet under. I believe I would have only gone to New Zealand for family reunions, but I wouldn't really have counted that as travel. To be frank, right, in my own 30 years in Australia, I only ever visited New South Wales, Queensland, Australian Capital Territory, Victoria, and Northern Territory. Never went to WA, Western Australia, or SA, South Australia, or even Tasmania. My father lives in Northern Queensland. My mother still lives in New South Wales. My brother still lives in New South Wales. I had a cousin who used to live in Victoria for many years until she moved back to New Zealand. I've got a cousin I write to once a year who lives in Perth, but he doesn't really go over to see my mum every now and then. It's, just people who live their own lives. But my life would have been so boring if I had not spent my life savings in America to see, Rat, Winger, Overkill, Heart, Trickster, Tedpoley, Pestilence, Obituary, Maryland Death Fest, and then I wouldn't have learned, that wouldn't have encouraged me to save up and go abroad to see Sodom Creator, Coroner, Destruction, Scorpions, Mayhem, Judas Priest, Ozzy, Saxon Testament at Hellfest. Alright. But then, when I retired from wanting to travel abroad to see bands, I initially thought to myself, there are many beautiful things in the world to be seen, rather than 3-day heavy metal festivals. So I am kind of glad that 10 years ago I said, I'm going to stop this now. But this isn't going to stop me from getting on a plane and wanting to go see Omen in Romania, or getting on a plane and wanting to see Dream Theater in Poland like I did this year. You see, now that I live in the United Kingdom, if a band comes to Europe, doesn't come to the United Kingdom, I'll be like, well, plane tickets are quite cheap to go there, and tickets will probably be a bit cheaper than the UK. I might as well just go there. I had a friend of mine who saw Fate's Warning a couple of times in Europe because they didn't show up in London, and that was fair enough. But, yeah. So anyway, this is day 1 of my day 31 challenge. This is Martin Millhead, over and out.